Yes.
Okay. We have a high school tech here who has come to report for us. And could we welcome all of our new board? And could we ask Gail Lombardi, could you come forward?
I got fired. What else do you
In recognition for all you've done over the years for Hampton Bays and for the Civic Association. Do we have a quorum? Counters? Thank you. So I apologize that the minutes for the September meeting got up late on the website. But if you're okay with going for the approval and reading them when you get home, or just approving and trusting that we've done our job like we have for a very long time, only the people that can vote have a pink card. Those are members. So if you approve the minutes, please raise your pink card. All those opposed, please raise. Yay, mission accomplished. Thank you. And we're going to ask Nancy, our treasurer, to give a little report, and she has something to ask of you.
Hi, I'd like to offer my thanks and gratitude to Gail Lombardi. Without her help, which has been invaluable, this transition wouldn't be as smooth as it has been. Thank you so much, Gail. Our fiscal year ended on September 30th, and our revenue was $10,284.65. Expenses, $6,910.51. And cash balance, $19,614.43. Those who have a copy of the proposed budget will see that it really reflects all of these figures moving forward, with two new line items we're requesting to move from our reserves. One is $1,000 to be used as a discretionary fund if we want new camera equipment or anything else that we think is necessary, or even money toward helping to sponsor some sort of event. And the $500 cost of living really is reflected just for that reason. Increases in supplies, refreshments, and some of our software subscriptions may be going up. So we wanted to have the money for that. So our new budget will show that we're starting with $19,600, and of that, $1,400, I know I said $1,500, but we had $100 less in expenses than we expected. So it's $1,400, which will let us start with $18,200. So I don't know if Eileen wants to move forward on the vote, but here's what we would like to do. Approve the proposed budget, and also get your approval to give us the latitude to pay some of these bills that are not the normal ones, such as the discretionary $1,000 and any other increases that we don't foresee, which is part of the $500. So did you want to ask for the vote?
Yeah, first we have to make a motion.
So I have a motion to approve the budget. A second?
All in favor of approving the budget?
Thank you. And do you want to do each of these two other line items separately? The $1,000 discretionary budget, do I have a motion to present that? Thank you. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And the $500 cost of living, which is about 3%. Thank you, Bridget. And second? And vote. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you, Club. So a couple of things the board has been working on after we met at our first board meeting is that we'd like to add a my 2 cents box to the back of the room that we'll have at each meeting. And all you need to do is, you have anything that you want to ask about, say about, member, non-member, whatever your thoughts, concerns, whatever. Just write it on here. If you want a personal communication, if you don't want to bring it up at a meeting, just note that and put your name and contact number on the other side. Just drop it in the box. And Michael's going to take care of it. Each time we have the meeting closed, he'll take it home, sort it out, we'll talk about it at the board meeting, yada, yada. So that's that. We're also asking for an advisory board or committee, a group. So these would be people who are members, who have expertise and talents or gifts they want to offer randomly. It would not be on a regular basis, but we would need your name, number, and your expertise. And if you could put it on a piece of paper in the back, maybe Denise, if you have a piece of paper back there, thank you. And if you would do that, we'd really appreciate it, because then we can reach out to people that are beyond the information that we have, that we can contact as needed. Thank you. We are going to have an update from Councilman Rick Martell, followed by Bill Pell, and then, one more thing. Very cool thing. Can I show you this?
Oh, yeah.
So John has been working on a pamphlet. So we thought we need to get information out. So we need a pamphlet to get out into the town and have information. We don't have Hampton Bay Civic Association, anything but a sticker or people talking about it. So John has been working on, and he's got pictures, wording, information. Yes.
It's really cool.
That's going to take a little money to print, but also after it's printed and it goes out, you know, if we get more members with this, it pays for itself. And it can be available for years. So if you all like this idea, anybody, just raise your hand. Of course, everybody likes this idea. Yes, if you like it. We're doing it anyway. Okay, so Mr. Martell, you're on.
Bill, do you want to come out now? Hi, what are you doing?
And he was going out.
Come on up, because your first time I left. So I'm going to try to make the updates as quick as possible tonight, because we have a lot of people here tonight. So I wanted to start off with the Bel Air. So Bill wanted to give you an update on what is happening right now with the project.
Like most people know, the Bel Air was one of my top things. Been watching it since.
Oh, there's a right comment right there.
Bel Air was one of my top things when I got elected. It was one of my top things when I was a trustee. And it's been moving very slowly. I'm a very impatient type of person. And I'm hopefully going to be with the DEC next week or the week after on site. When I get the date, I'll have one, most likely Scott Howitz with me, and the architect, the engineer who designed it, the bulkhead, the low-cell bulkhead, and explain to the new person who just got a job with the DEC what is a low-cell bulkhead. That's the whole. They don't know what a low-cell bulkhead is. It's a soft.
What is it?
In the shoreline. And also here's
Could you say it one more time? I'm sorry.
a low-cell bulkhead. A low-cell bulkhead is, you take the bulkhead, and you cut it down at low, just below low tide, and you have the other one just about at high tide, so water comes in between, so you might have 10 feet between the two structures, and you plant wetlands. And it comes back, you might put some rocks in it, and you'll see eelgrass growing, different type of grasses, and then it starts coming back alive. Ann is very aware of it. She pushed it when she was a trustee. She's still pushing it as what she's doing now. And we also have Mark Greger here, the Deputy Superintendent of Highways, and I speak to him almost daily about the sidewalks, what's going on with the town, that I report it back to the board, and we as the board, we decide and say, okay, go ahead, Mark, that's a good idea, change it there, and he might say, can we change it there? And I say, let's do it. Because Hampton Bays is probably top on his list, top on my list, and top on the board's list. Thank you again.
So it's great that the DEC is involved and that Bill's involved, because his background with the trustees is crucial on this. Now that we're using the trustee road end there to incorporate into the park, it's really a great idea that they're involved and we make it as passive across the board as we can. So Bill, I thank you for that.
We'll all look together.
Rick, I'm sorry, can you get the mic, please? We have all these.
Okay.
Thank you.
Don't understand.
Much appreciated.
So again, I kept it to really minimal things here. So I got a question during the week about the Hampton Coffee site plan. They have put in for a site plan. They're actually asking for no additional improvements. They're just trying to legalize one conforming use to another. Apparently, the past tenants had never done that. So they're just looking to keep the building as it is, but make it all legal in another non-conforming use. So it's not going to change anything at this site. I'm going to leave you with the renditions for the post office parking lot, the new improvements at the post office. It will actually be adding a better flow, and it'll be adding 10 more parking places to it, as well as quite a bit of landscaping to make it so we don't have people sleeping behind rocks, and we have an easier time getting up onto the sidewalks and so on. It's a really nice plan. Basically, it's down, the difference in the two plans is the location of some garbage cans that we have to keep on the property. Eileen, you sent me 200 West Montauk Highway today, which for those who don't know is a property next to McDonald's. They're doing a lot of work there, and the plan is basically for the home goods store, not a home goods store, don't get excited, ladies. It's for similar to what they had before when they were selling the wicker and the furniture, but also an additional nail salon added to it, so it would get a wet use to it, along with additional parking in the back of the property. One of the big things that's been coming up quite a bit is the flow of traffic on Ponquag. We're actually looking into putting a crosswalk at the end of Argonne Road so that the kids after school can cross across Ponquag. We'll do it the same as we did up by the school. We'll have the little plastic man in the middle of the road and do all that. Hopefully we can slow down the traffic. What we're doing too is we're having, I don't know, I've seen an accident and a near miss at the corner of Ponquag and Bay Avenue. I don't know if anybody has ever pulled out of Bay Avenue West and tried to look around the curve. It's very difficult. So the traffic data there and the accident data is telling us we should be looking into other traffic mitigation sources there, whether it be a four-way stop sign, a lighted sign to tell us that a curve and it's, traffic is ahead. But that's something we're probably going to act on pretty quickly. Cindy McNamara, who's been working with the Parks and Recreation Department for her fitness trail. They broke ground this week. It's at the Maritime Park by the canal. It's been a plan that she's been working on for quite a while. So it's going to be something I think, Jim, you've been looking into this, right? So it's something that you might take advantage of. I know it's a little off your route, but it might be good for you. And last but not least, I got an update on Westwoods from Jim Burke, our town attorney. It's really, I'm going to send it to you so you can distribute it through everybody, but it's really an update on how we got to where we are today. We're probably 30 to 60 days away from our next court appearance. So there's really not a lot to update that. Diana, if you're on Diana's email blast, it's pretty much the same as what she sent out. So I'll get that to the board by tomorrow. Okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Rick. We always appreciate the updates.
Keep the questions coming.
So now Michael is going to handle Meet the Candidates Night, and we're going to start off with Ann Welker.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm going to go down the ballot from Suffolk County. We're going to hear from some of the candidates for some of the offices. We're going to start with the county legislature, and for each office, I'm going to ask the incumbent to come up first to speak, and then I'll ask the challengers to come up after that. We're not taking any questions during the presentations. We do have an open question and answer at the end of tonight, depending on how much time we have. So you'll have an opportunity to ask questions then. But please, no questions as the candidates are speaking, because we have a number of candidates to get through this. Each one has been asked to speak for 3 minutes. I'm going to try to keep everyone to 3 minutes. And if they go over a little bit, it's fine, but no 5 and 10 minute speeches. Okay, so let's start with the county legislature. The incumbent is Ann Welker.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you to the Hampton Bays Civic for hosting and continuing this wonderful tradition. When I was first running in 2017, this was one of my first Meet the Candidates or debates, and it was a bit intimidating at that point, and to see this full room tonight, it's a bit intimidating again. But it's so important that each of you is here tonight educating yourselves about your candidates. Local elections matter, and it's so important. So thank you to each of you. As the daughter of a civics and government and history teacher, I know how important it is. And for those of you who went to Hampton Bays High School, my mom's here tonight, and she's the listening for sure. So I'm Ann Welker, Suffolk County legislator, and I represent the 2nd District. So the 2nd District is immense. It stretches from Montauk Point to nearly Mauritius Inlet. It encompasses about 60 miles of oceanfront beach. It is probably one of the largest districts. The 1st District is the largest. It's even more immense. I am building on, this is my 5th election. I previously served as a Southampton Town trustee for 3 terms, and I'm building in, this is my 1st term in the legislature, so this is my 1st re-election as a Suffolk County legislator. And I'm building, my work in the legislature has been to build on the foundation that I developed as a trustee. Water quality for us on the East End in Hampton Bays, in our whole coastal community is of paramount importance to all of us. We are so fortunate that last November of 2024, we all flipped over our ballots and voted to approve Proposition number 2. Proposition number 2 was overwhelmingly approved by 70% of Suffolk County voters. There is a 21-member board. I'm fortunate to represent the Suffolk County legislature's minority caucus on that board. That board is setting up the infrastructure for how we proceed forward with the Suffolk County Water Quality Restoration Fund. It's in its infancy at this point, but that fund will be working to set up our IA septic systems to help upgrade our septic systems, and also where needed to either expand or build wastewater treatment plants. And as you all know, Hampton Bays is in line for that. I'm fortunate to serve on that board with Supervisor Maria Moore, the supervisor of East Hampton Town, Kathy Burke-Gonzalez, and the supervisor of Southold, Al Krupski. So the East End is well represented on this board. As we look at Hampton Bays in reference to the county, this is such a vibrant community, and it's one of the largest year-round hamlets in the town. And it's so important that as we're looking forward here that we get this right. So I'm listening and learning in my position as legislator, and I would be honored if I were to be elected by each of you as we go forward. Early voting is taking place now, and it goes until Sunday, November 2nd, and then Election Day is Tuesday, November 4th. Thank you so much.
So next we'll hear from the challenger, Raheem Soto.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Raheem Soto. I'm excited to be here, and congratulations to the new board, and thank you to the Hampton Bays Civic Association. Civics is important. Voter turnout's important. People knowing who their elected officials are is extremely important. I was originally born in Brooklyn. I've lived all over the state of New York. As someone who grew up in foster care, I got to travel the state a lot as a young man, and this is by far the most beautiful place in New York. My wife's family's been here 3 generations, and the historical context of our community, Hampton Bays, the town of Southampton, you don't get more historical than this area. You don't get more beautiful during the summer. I've never seen a sunset like you see here on the South Shore. So I'm running because I want to protect that. I'm running because I feel we do not have a proportional investment into our community. So in layman's terms, that means our tax dollars go and they don't come back. We're talking about 7 cents on a dollar. When we're sending tax dollars west and to Albany, and we're sending them to Hauppauge, just think about how much of that comes back to the East End versus how much we put in. And I think it's unfair. I think it's unfair that we have the traffic situation on 39. I think it's unfair with the amount, and I'm talking hundreds of millions of dollars. So I got into this race with the idea that we need something that's fair. There's no metric in the county by which your tax dollars are weighed in your resources, and I think that's unfair. I think the business of the legislature is to make sure that tax dollars are spent efficiently. I think that there needs to be a lot more transparency in where our tax dollars go. And so as a parent, as a grandparent, as somebody who wants to remain living in this community, I want my kids to grow up here. I have a son right now at the Southampton Police Explorers meeting right now as we speak. I want him to become a police officer in this community. I want him to have children and raise his family in this community, as you know, been the generations with my wife's family. So my main agenda is very, very simple. We need a voice that will be able to come up with creative solutions to get our dollars back. Because we see the SOMAS report, the water's not getting any better. And the idea that government is slow is not an excuse. That's not an excuse. I would come to you as your legislator and say, hey, you know, you guys know how it is. That's not acceptable. Why is that the way that it is? Why have we come to accept that things are slow with hundreds of millions of dollars leaving this community? It's unfair, it's unreasonable. So how do we fix that? Day one as your legislator, I have a plan. It's called the FAIR Plan. We fund, we audit, we invest, and we report. We fund shovel-ready projects. We fund those IA systems now. Now, where does this money come from? Let's look at the hotel-motel tax. It's a lot of money going west. So in this FAIR Plan, what we can do is we can take a proportional amount of that hotel-motel tax dollars and we can bring it back to the East End through something I call a tourism investment partnership, separate from the Tourism Bureau. So now there just needs to be a political desire to do this. You guys need to see the plans and say, hey, I like that idea. I think we should do that. And we apply that political pressure, which is putting representatives in place that have this plan and want to get it done. We need to save affordability. Affordability is not just a catchphrase or a political slogan. It's real people's lives at stake. So there was this thing, and I'll end on this. As somebody who grew up around New York, you hear about the Hamptons growing up, and you think, oh, that's the playground of the rich and the elite. It's not what I found out. What I found out, this is a community of people who have been here historically. This is a loving community. I've been welcomed here with open arms. I can tell you horror stories of what we heard from out west about the Hamptons. None of it's true. The most beautiful people on the planet. The most welcoming community that I've been in. And this has been an amazing race to be a part of. So I have an amazing set of plans that I would execute as your legislator. I'm hungry to get these things done. I will not take no for an answer. And I will demand accountability. I am promoting that we need a forward-facing project tracker at the county level. It takes you 30 minutes to navigate the county website and find out where the money's going. We need a start to finish. We gave you the money here, and where is it at on the ticker? We can see our Amazon deliveries. Why can't we see our tax dollars? So I have several ideas that are like this. Like I said, by trade, I'm a newspaper publisher, I'm a policy analyst, and I've been doing this for about 20 years, and I'm proud to, represent this community, and with your support, I'll be in the legislature and I'll work hard for you. Thank you for your time.
So next on the ballot, we have town supervisor, so Maria Moore, who's unchallenged.
Well, hello, everyone. Thanks for inviting me to help to speak with you tonight, and congratulations to the new members of the board. I remember back in 2023 when I was first running for supervisor, and I came to a Hampton Bays Civic meeting, and everybody was so curious and wanting to know all about the West Hampton reconstruction project for Main Street and the sewer project. And it was really nice to see such an engaged community, and that's been my experience with Hampton Bays ever since. So many of you come to the meetings and express your opinions and thoughts about what you'd like to see, and it's important for us to hear it. And I feel that the board's been responsive. I know that everybody was very against the development at the Bel Air Cove Motel property, and so we heard you, and now it took a while to unwind what had been done before, but now it's been demolished, and it's going to be a beautiful passive park, and you heard the update from Bill. We're just waiting for some permits to come through. And of course, we heard what you said about the battery energy storage and how the prior code was not acceptable with the allowing development in the residential areas. So we formed a battery energy storage task force, and we looked at it from every which way and came up with a code that I think satisfies everyone and does restrict that kind of installation in residential neighborhoods. And we know that downtown revitalization is important to all of you, and so we've made great strides towards the sewer treatment plant. We have all the property that we need now, and we have applications in for grant funding, and now we just need to get an engineer on board and start with the design. And to that end of the revitalization, this board has also adopted a pattern book which should set forth design standards for new development. And it took quite a while, but we wanted to make sure we got it right. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to continue to work with all of you and make Hampton Bays the best it can be. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Okay, so next on the ballot is the town clerk, and we'll hear from the incumbent, Sunday Sherman.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to be able to speak to all of you about our election this cycle this year. I have to start out, since we're in Hampton Bays, by saying that when I was 19, I started waitressing at the Chart Inn. I don't know if any of you remember the Chart Inn, but that's how I put myself through Southampton College and earned a bachelor's degree in public administration, business, and accounting. As a lifelong resident of the town of Southampton with a lengthy history of community service, I have always taken the same great pride in my public service work as well. I am a New York State registered municipal clerk. I have served as the New York State Town Clerks Association District Director for all of Long Island, and also as President of the Nassau-Suffolk Town Clerks Association. I manage 2 offices with 12 staff, 1 in Town Hall and 1 here in this annex. I oversee the legislative activities and filings for the town board. I am the records management officer, overseeing 16,000 cubic feet of archival records for 37 departments. I manage active land management files and plans for over 50,000 parcels. I created a successful online town-wide bid, preserved thousands of historic documents and books and maps in the town's historic collection, making them accessible for research online. As the town's licensing agent, rolled out recently a new online permit application system, which now offers credit card options for payments as well. I've been awarded the Best of New York by the Center of Digital Government for increased efficiency and public participation. I am the most qualified candidate in this election with vast relevant experience, institutional knowledge, and proven results year after year of delivering effective services to the residents. I'm running a nonpartisan office that has always served all of our residents and communities, providing the most transparent government possible. If you are a new voter in Southampton or remain undecided on how to vote in the town clerk's race, please watch the town clerk debate posted on 27 East. The debate should make it clear as to who is the most qualified candidate to represent you. To contact me or learn more about my campaign, please visit my website at Schurmeyer4 townclerk.com. If you watch the debate, please keep in mind that the town has contracted with the New York State Department of Homeland Security, just one component of the town's overall cybersecurity strategy managed by the IT department. And the second thing is that there are no bowels of the town clerk's office where all your identity and banking information could possibly be stored. I am endorsed by Suffolk County Executive Ed Romaine, Fred Thiel, Senator Palumbo, County Clerk Pulio, and the Southampton Town PBA. But the most important vote is yours, and I humbly ask for your support in November. Thank you.
Mr. Mark Bernardo.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hello, good ground. This is where it's happening here at Hampton Bays. We're in the heart of the Southampton town where our rich history and the demands of a modern coastal community are challenged each and every day. And we need leaders, that's not what. And we need leaders that blend timeless dedication with forward-thinking ideas, a vision. That's why I'm asking you to cast your vote for me, Mark Bernardo, for town clerk. I was born and raised in Franklin, Pennsylvania, and I graduated from Indiana University of Pennsylvania with a degree in history as a certified teacher. I moved to New York City in 1977, where I met my wife, Lisa, my wife of 43 years. I met her at NBC News. We worked there together. My wife and I have one son. He's Dr. Sebastian Bernardo. He's an attending psychiatrist at Mount Sinai in the psych emergency room. He helps a lot of people. My wife and I have lived in West Hampton Beach for 11 years, and I bring 50 years of unparalleled expertise in design and visual effects. In this critical role, I've crafted legacy graphics that have graced 6 Olympic broadcasts, Super Bowls, Emmy-winning productions, and I am a 3-time Emmy winner and a Peabody Award recipient. But my career isn't just about creativity. It's about precision, it's about security, it's about storytelling that preserves what matters the most, the truth. And I have administered large teams with high dollar budgets to deliver extraordinary timelines, a product that often raises the visual literacy of the audience. For 2 years, I served on the Southampton Democratic Committee. I'm a member of the West Hampton Beach Rotary. I'm a volunteer at the West Hampton Beach Performing Arts Center. And I know that as a newcomer, it's a challenge when a 20-year incumbent is your rival. But I offer a fresh energy to the office that safeguards our records, elections, and vital services. Imagine a town clerk's office fortified against cyber threats through a comprehensive independent audit, ensuring no wormholes would expose sensitive data and the applications thereof. Expanding the office hours to weekends is one of the ideas that I have, because not everyone can schedule a visit to the town clerk's office at 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. I'm a member of a union. I've been a member of a union for 50 years. You negotiate these things with unions. I'm a member of the Writers Guild of America and the National Association of Broadcast Employees and Technicians. I have extensive engineering background, and I know that we can definitely work out a schedule that would be favorable to the staff of the town clerk's office. My motivations are simple and yet profound. I want to serve the people of the East End, fostering efficiencies, and I want to add a personal touch to define Southampton. In an era of rapid change, my tech-savvy innovations and my attention to details will modernize the operations while honoring our town's extraordinary legacy. No controversies shadow my record, only a commitment to transparency and progress. I am absolutely humbled to have been nominated for this role. I am not only qualified, I'm eminently qualified. And I'm one that designs a brighter future for the future of all of us, and I look forward to your vote. Good ground. The election is November 4th, but early voting has already begun, and I hope you'll consider me when you vote for town clerk. Thank you.
So next we'll hear from the candidates for town council. We have three candidates here tonight. There are 5 candidates on the ballot. Are Andrew Smith or Alicia Galicia here tonight? Okay, so let's start with the 3 we know are here. I'm going to deviate a little bit because we have 2 incumbents and 1 challenger, so we'll hear from an incumbent, then the challenger, and then the second incumbent. So first we'll hear from Rick Martel.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you again to the Civic for having this tonight. You know, this is the 4th time I've been in front of the Civic group. I think everybody here knows me. They know I work around the corner. I've lived here for 50 years. I'm a member of Kiwanis and run Little League and do all that great stuff. And I think everybody here knows that one of the key things to Rick Martel is the fact that I answer the call. When you have a problem, when you have an issue, you know, I show up. I don't care how small it is. Hey, I can't cross this crosswalk. The garbage is being dumped here. I'm there to check it out. Because when I call Mark Brager from Highway, or I talk to Bill Pell or any of the trustees about an issue, I want to make sure I understand it before, you know, I get there. I make sure that I'm not just looking at a computer screen and saying, oh yeah, at the corner of this and this, we should really look at this. And I got to tell you, my experience the first time on the board to now, working with Maria and Bill and Cindy and Michael, we have such a cohesive board. And that's important to everybody here in Hampton Bays. Because if I bring an issue, it's not, okay, Rick, we'll wait, we'll budget it for next year, whatever. You know, we have a board that says, well, what can we do about that now? And that's what you need. If I wasn't here, I'd be sitting in those seats. So you have a representative from your group that is doing the footwork that you want and that you need. So the promise I can make to you is that everything I do is for you, it's for my town. I have 2 boys, one of them lives here. Great announcement, 4 months, I just had a grandson, my first one in the family. You know, and I seriously, you know, I never thought about this because I'm not kind of like that guy, but I look at him and I go, what exactly is he going to grow up to now? So I want to make sure that everything's great for him. I want to make sure it's great for us, for you, and I guarantee you that I will always answer the call. Everybody here, I think, has called me at one time or another, and please continue to do that because that's what I do best. So thank you very much.
Next we'll hear from Tom Neely.
Thanks, Mike. And thanks to the board for setting this up tonight. This is great. I was sent a list of questions and asked to answer those, so I read emails. So I'm going to kind of focus my answers around the questions that were given to me. What is my main goal at this time and how will it affect Hampton Bays residents? Well, my goal is kind of simple, to get elected to the town board so that I can use my experience and my leadership skills to get things done. For those of you that don't know, I was vice president at Hampton Jitney for a number of years, about 16 years, something like that, helped make it a very successful business. So I had great experience there leading that company. And then I transitioned in 2005. I went to work for the town as the Transportation and Traffic Safety Director for the town. Left in 2021, and I've been on the planning board since being appointed in 2022. So I have a lot of experience. With regard to leadership skills, I just want to briefly share one experience that changed my life and really taught me a great deal. As I said, I was at Hampton Jitney for a number of years as vice president. On September 11th, the owner of the company and his son, the president of the company, were in Florida, so I was the guy in charge. It was a horrific day for all of us. I know that. We all have our memories of the terrible things that happened that day. And I had that experience of people I knew in Manhattan, but I had to put that aside. I had to focus on my job as vice president running that company that day. And I could spend an hour telling you everything that went on, but we don't have the time. I can tell you, working with a couple of senior people at the company, I made the decisions, critical decisions, because they closed the Midtown Tunnel, they closed the airports, everything was shut down, made critical decisions, number one, to continue to operate, to continue to bring people out of New York, and actually brought people into New York that wanted to go. So as I said, it was, there's too much, could spend the whole day talking about it, but I won't, other than to say I got a crash course in leading people and making critical decisions. So I'm ready to do that for the town. Question number 2. What do they feel are the most important issues adversely affecting Hampton Bays at this time, and how will they address it? Well, traffic is a primary concern. I think that's pretty obvious to many people, and I'll speak to that in a minute. I know from having attended prior meetings in the past, both when I was a town employee and more recently, there are a lot of concerns about our housing and development plans. And there have been concerns that they are overdevelopment. They're not in scale with what the community feels. And you're concerned about that, and I know that. And I think that's one of the things that right now and going forward, we're going to make sure that whatever is proposed, either through the town or private developers, meets that resident-friendly meter. I am a member of the planning board, and I can tell you that we have a number of projects constantly come through for Hampton Bays, constantly come through for other parts of the town. Every project that goes through the planning board process comes out better than it was when it came into the planning board. So I'm a big supporter of the work of the planning board, working with the town board. What is my opinion on the Westwoods development issue? Well, I think we all know that's been in and out of the courts and up and down and all over for many, many years. Various forms. There are legitimate concerns on both sides of the issue, and a lot of decent people on both sides of the issue. Millions of dollars have been spent trying to resolve this. I think we're at the point where we need to consider negotiating a comprehensive settlement agreement, which is fair to everyone, involving the town, the state, the Shinnecocks, and the federal government through the Bureau of Indian Affairs. I think we need to start looking at a negotiated settlement. Okay, next question. The plan to help the traffic situation that goes through Hampton Bays. Well, this is where my experience at the Jitney and at the town really come in. As a town board member, I will be able to set priorities to get permanent solutions implemented. I'll give you 2 examples. 5 years ago, I went to 2 of our town board members when I was still working there full-time, one on each side of the aisle, as they say. I recommended to the 2 town board liaisons that the town work up a concept plan for a roundabout at Montauk Highway and Canoe Place Road. That initiative, that recommendation never went forward. Here we are 5 years later. Every morning we have people out there, 8 to 10 police officers and highway workers out there putting up cones from Gravel Hill Road to Newtown Road every morning, and then a couple hours later picking them up. We can't do that forever. The priority to me would be to make that a priority project to get the county to work on putting a roundabout or finding a better traffic solution at that intersection. I also, and I'll be quick, thanks, Mike, the South Fork Commuter Connection train and bus service. If you don't know about it, you can Google it, but I want to lobby for increases in the Long Island Railroad. They have $262 million in their budget for South Fork rail improvements. We've got to get them moving, get that taken care of right away. That's going to take a long time to improve the train service and get more cars off the road. 5 seconds, okay. Well, that's the back half of my page. I'm going to throw it away and just thank you for your time, ask for your vote. I want to show leadership and I want to get things done on behalf of Hampton Bays. Thank you.
And Cindy McNamara.
Hi, everybody. I'll start by saying thank you for having me here. Most of you know me because you've either reached out to me in my office or I've been at these meetings before. So you know me and you know that when all of these things show up in your mailbox, most of you, I think, throw them out. There was one particular, and these all came to my daughter because she's an independent voter, by the way. So there was one in particular that came out. I don't know if you got this one. It was kind of really nasty. My daughter was so offended by it. She's a student in law school. So offended by it that she decided to basically debunk it and went through and looked at all of the sightings on that paper, and in the back of the room is my palm card with her letter where she put the facts on everything that was basically untrue about this mailer. And if that's, you know, how you start your role as a leader, then that's how you start your role as a leader. That's not how I choose to run things. I'm here for you. I'm here to represent you. I want to say that, you know, I've had now 4 years in office. There's a lot of things in Hampton Bays, a lot of things we've worked on together. Traffic is a big concern, right? And 2 years ago, I think at Hampton Bays Civic Debate, I told you all, any politician running and saying that they're going to fix traffic is lying to you. You know, my opponent just told you he wants $262 million invested in the rail to get a couple hundred cars off the road. We're talking 45,000 cars. 200 cars at $262 million. I don't know if I'd want somebody that thinks that makes fiscal sense running my tax dollars. And if I'm coming off as being upset with this, I am, because I have taken a beating this election cycle once again. I'm here for you, and I'm here to fight for you and your families. Rick lives in Hampton Bays. I live in East Quogue. We don't live in Sag Harbor. We commute through the traffic. My husband tries to run a landscaping business through the traffic every single day, and it's not just getting out there, it's fighting from client to client once he's out there. And those of you that work in the trades know what I'm talking about. We have real issues, but we are working on them. We're also trying to work on issues and be sensitive to the people in our community. We had a lot of complaints about signage on Main Street in Hampton Bays. And when that came to my office, I didn't just send code enforcement out to start ticketing everybody and writing them up. What we did was we had them come in, we sent them notices and said, these are things that are wrong with your businesses. Come meet with us and we'll talk to you about how to address them. We had an interpreter at that meeting. 85% of the businesses that came into compliance because they wanted to, because they simply didn't understand what the codes were. And so we're working with code enforcement now to come out with a brochure that we can give to the chamber in both languages, in Spanish and English, so that they can make business owners aware of our codes and what we expect for our downtown area. Hampton Bays is facing some really big changes. When we talk about the infrastructure that's coming for Hampton Bays and the potential development that's coming for Hampton Bays, if I was sitting in your seat, I would want somebody sitting in that seat in town hall that has a track record of looking out for you, of fighting for you, and from making sure that what you want happens at town hall. So I'm asking for your vote for re-election because I want to work with you, not for you, not against you. I want to work with you. And I think we have a good town board, and I think we've been doing right by this community, and we are making strides. And you know what? There's a party that tells you to vote their line no matter who. I'm asking you to look at the candidates, be an informed voter, and vote for our line because of who. Thank you.
Okay, so next we'll hear from the candidates for the trustees. We'll start off with Scott Horwitz.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Scott Horwitz. I am a little broken right now. Mother Nature has taken its toll on our town, erosion at every corner, every street end, and I was doing storm prep ahead of that nor'easter that we had a couple weekends ago, and after we secured all our waterfront assets, pump out boats and whatnot, I turned to my own stuff and twisted on a sheet of plywood, tore my bicep off the arm. I had surgery Thursday. But I take this job very seriously, and anybody that knows that I do, and that's why I'm here in pain to address you, because it's that important to me. This is not my first time. I'm from Hampton Bays. I went to elementary school in Hampton Bays. I see a lot of folks here, Mrs. Welker, and Mr. Martell. We went to school, Eddie Warner, right? Who else? We went to school in Hampton Bays here. Junior, senior high school. I went to Southampton College, graduated with a bachelor's in environmental studies. I was a bay constable part-time. My first job worked for the town, hired by Ed Warner's father, Ed Senior, right? I was running a patrol boat up and down the Shinnecock Canal before I went to the Suffolk County Police Academy for the town. I was out on the road for a while. Met my wife at the Suffolk County Police Academy. That was almost 40 years ago. She's also an Air Force veteran. And I have 2 children that work for me in my insurance business, which is what I do for my primary living. I have a son who's a member of the FDNY. Goes back and forth from East Quogue to Bushwick, Brooklyn every day. And myself as a kid running around here from elementary school, I'm now a grandfather. It's the most important title that I have, Pop. And I take that very seriously too. I served 16 years now for you in public service very proudly. I did 4 years on the town's conservation board working on wetlands applications, and this is my 6th term as trustee, 12 years serving the last 4 years as the president of the trustees. And I gotta tell you, it has not been easy. The trustees is one of the most misunderstood positions that there is in this town. It is the gatekeeper of the heart and soul of our community. All the underwater lands, everybody's talking about water quality, and very importantly, the colonial era patents on the ocean beaches that allow public access throughout 26 miles of coast from the crest of the dune to the high tide mark for the public. Because let's be honest, most people don't live on the water. They live inland, but they need access to the water, and that's where we come in. And I will tell you that in my tenure, 6 terms, we have defended threats to take away our money, to take away our land, and to take away your public access. And in my tenure, we dispensed with all of those issues, right? It wasn't easy, but we did that. And that's what this job is about. It's about protecting your rights, your environment, your public access, your water quality. I stood here many, many terms and I talked about getting you transparency and accountability. I heard other candidates talking about this. It was very difficult. I had to get this through with my board, through the state Senate, state assembly, and have the governor sign this. And let me tell you, it was a battle, but I felt it was something very important. If you're going to protect something as important as your environment and your public access and your water quality, you better darn have sound financial funding so that you can do that, and you can best use your trust revenues so you can do that job for the people. And you know what? Never gave up. And we got that done. And you can now look at your tax bill and see $22 goes to the trustees so that we can continue doing the good work that we do. And that's all important for you and for your future generations. The bottom line is that I stood in this room here many times, and I'm looking out at faces that I know. We had problems. We had to save the Pond Park Bridge fishing pier. That was over a decade ago. They were going to tear it down. People came from all around the country to dive on that fishing pier. Very important for our community. Guess what? We worked together. We saved it, right, Maria? We did, okay? Very important for the community. Now you have a nice public access resource for people where you were going to have nothing. Part of it, the Ed Warner Park. They were going to get rid of it. We had to stop that and fix it. We did that collaboratively. Bel Air Cove, look at it. Ex-trustee Pell sitting next to me for a long time, now Councilman Pell. Guess what? Worked in collaboration on that so that we can stop being abused down there and get a really good project, something good for the environment, something that's good for public access in the community. Yes, we can explain to these new folks over at the DEC all about how low-sill bulkheads help stop erosion and help you build an ecosystem with a vibrant wetland. You can do two things at one time, and there's great funding for this. They end up being great projects. The bottom line is it takes folks that have this institutional knowledge and experience to be able to get this done. Personally, I have synergies from the federal government right on down to all the local village mayors and everybody else in the departments in town hall. And myself as a president of the trustees, I work collaboratively with everybody. I will always keep what is important for my position in the public, and I will do whatever it is that I have to do to get the job done. And I think that with the tenure that I have, you can look at the track record that I have to show that what I say, I mean, and I can deliver, and I'm gonna be here no matter how much pain I have or how beat up I am. I'm gonna get the job with one hand tied in front of my chest, okay? I will get it done, okay? I'm very sincere. I'm asking you for your vote. I've been on this mission for a long time. I'm asking you to please keep me on this mission. It's important to me, it's important to our generations. I take pride. I want to thank the Civic Association. I want to thank you all. Please come out and vote.
And next we'll hear from Joseph McLaughlin.
Thank you all for coming in. Thank you all for coming this evening. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve as your town trustee. 2 years ago when I was elected to the board, it was my mission to bring my prior experience as a village trustee to the forefront. And as was discussed with the tax line and the lawsuits being solved, I'm glad to be a part of that. Every meeting I put on this pin very proudly, because I know the trustees have a 140-year legacy of preserving and protecting our waterways. One of the points I can bring to the table is like, over the summer, there was a road blockage down at OG on Meadow Lane, and thanks to working with my colleagues, and due to my prior experience knowing the village police chief, I was able to call her up and say, hey chief, who's on duty? Because there's a road blockage down at Road G. We need to get it cleared for the public. And of course she obliged, and thanks to my colleagues and the village PD, we got it done. Why is that important? Because that is your road. As a public's road for the access to the beach. You know, for the last 2 years, I've also worked very closely with the Lake and Pond Associations within my area of oversight, mainly North Sea and Watermill, to look at the issues there. And I've been working collaboratively with the town highway to get these issues done. We installed drainage on Little Fish Pond Road, and Little Fish Pond Lane to address these issues. Obviously, you know, that's east of the canal. And that's very important because we can emulate that throughout the town. I also have come inside here several meetings to listen to what is going on here in Hampton Bays. I also attended the special election debate back in March, because I know that being an elected official, you're not just the official for your area, you're the official for the entire town. And it is my mission to be a trustee for all of you, to protect your rights across the board. And working with Cornell, with the Shinnecock Bay, I've been on the board for decades, to know, to protect our waterways for not just all of us, but for people, for future generations. I ask for your vote, and I hope my record, I can earn your vote. Thank you.
Next, we hear from Chip Marin.
Hi, I'm Chip Marin. This is going to be running for my second term as trustee. My family's been out here since the early 1800s. We settled in Bridgehampton. I'm primarily the liaison for the east end of the town. I have a lot of localized knowledge of both Mecock, Sag Harbor, Noyak, North Sea. But my family, part of my family did settle in Hampton Bays, and we had a business here for many years. And actually, my parents renovated one of the old Squires homes on East Tiana Bay and tried to keep it as classic as they possibly could to keep with, you know, we like old things, we don't like things to change, you know. But unfortunately, we've been inundated by a lot of people coming out here who also want to enjoy this beautiful place that we live. So we have to take that to heart. You know, there's running as a trustee, as this board, we were really good at dividing and conquering. Scott and Ed brokered through the MOA. That was our main concern when we got in there. And from the start, I says, we cannot take on any projects until we clean up all the past projects. And that was basically, I dove into the contracts department. We had outstanding invoices since 2019. You can't run an operation like that. If we're gonna be on our own tax line, we need to be fiscal. We wanna make sure we have a budget. We wanna make sure we can get the projects done that you guys all want. During my time, I straightened out Mecock's cut and Sag cut, both figuratively, and we straightened them out literally. It's the first time in 30 years that both those cuts ran for 3 to 4 months. You know, I mean, that's a big accomplishment in my mind. I worked with the Noyak Civic Council. We got Circle Beach paved. That hadn't been paved since like 1980. We got a lot of the trustee roads that are in dire need of repair. I know a lot of you, probably know how to wind the goat trails just to get east. And a lot of these trustee roads have been overburdened with traffic, and we've taken it upon ourselves to update some of those roads the best we can with the minimal budget that we actually have. You need tenacity as a trustee. If you start a project, you have to finish a project. Everything that I've started or inherited, I've buckled up to know that we can move forward with new projects. My biggest priority is picking the low-hanging fruit. Right now, the septic thing is on its way. Suffolk County, Southampton Town, CPF, we're providing funding. The lowest hanging fruit we have in Southampton Town is stormwater runoff. In 2002, there was an intensive study of all the watershed of Southampton Town. Not much at all whatsoever has been done with it. When you get more than an inch of rain in these bays, it's basically taking all that septic work that you've done and tossing it out, because we have all that stormwater that's going from upland, down our roads, and into the bay. 30, 40 years ago, it didn't matter quite as much. We had a lot of woods, we had a lot of farm fields, we had a lot of spots where the water could go away. Now, with the build out that we had, CPF funds were for buying open space. Now it's developing into the water quality business. We don't need feasibility studies, we don't need water quality tests, we need to stop the rainwater from going in the bay. So my primary concern, if I get a second term as a trustee, is to go to the legislators that want to be on board with me and the shakers and movers of each hamlet and say, here's a systematic approach for a 10-year program to mitigate as much stormwater as we possibly can stop going into the bays. That's the lowest hanging fruit, and it's probably going to have the most effect on improving water quality. I will also say that this board has been a pleasure to work with. Everyone on that board works pretty hard. Scott Horowitz, the guy's, like I've said many times, he's probably making $1 an hour. He's definitely below the minimum wage at least. So I would say that, and Ed Warner, he's got institutional knowledge. When the two of us were sitting in the commercial dock over there, and I looked at him, I said, is it time for me to run? He said, well, I'd like it, it'd be handy, because he knew that I had tons of institutional knowledge. I know everything from the Shinnecock Canal East. And if I don't, I've got a 3-minute phone call that somebody who has an answer of the old institutional knowledge of what happened in all these bays and the trustee roads and the beach access and why this is there and this is here. So I'd like to continue to work for you, and I appreciate the vote. Thank you.
Okay, so I think we have 2 more incumbents. Ed Warner and Matthew Parsons? Okay, Matthew Parsons, come up.
Hi, everybody. Go Bayman. My name is Matt Parsons, and this is my 2nd time running for trustee. I've been a trustee for the last 2 years. I live in East Quogue now, but Hampton Bays looms large in my life. I met my amazing wife underneath the Pompog Bridge scuba diving in 2002. I have a business, and my first big aquarium account was next door at Francesca's. You guys may be familiar with that one. I'm also very much involved with coaching, and when I say Go Bayman, I say it as a coach of the Hurricane softball organization. And so over the last 4 years, I've coached, I think, 12 different teams, and we've played a lot against the Baymen up at Red Creek, and it's been a wonderful experience. And one of the things I love about coaching is the teaching of the teamwork. The trustees were a team. We worked together. When I was first learning about the trustees and first became a trustee, you think that you're kind of shouldering this burden on your own, but with some experience, you realize you're not. I am still very green, even though I have 1 term under my belt. But Scott and Ed and Chip and Joe, we kind of put our heads together on every issue, and we're able to use that common sense and that science to sometimes have to be able to push back against dollars and cents. We as the trustees, we kind of hold the line against unsustainable development on the waters that we all love so much. I really appreciate the teamwork that goes into this board. I am a marine biologist by calling. I can't seem to get away from it. I got a biology degree, and I had to go on the ocean. I had to work on the water. I had to work on the bays. I had to get involved in restoration biology projects, and I've always kind of felt this pull, this need to be there. And actually, I had my mind blown in the last month. So I've been a trustee for 2 years. I just found out that my ancestor, Samuel Parsons, was a trustee and a constable in East Hampton in 1660. It's just like, boom, that explains the pull. Like, I've always needed to be on the bay. I've always needed to be on the water. I've always felt this need to be there. And it's just something, I guess, it's in my blood. So here I am. I can see myself, if you guys would keep voting for me, I can see myself doing this for a couple decades. And I intend to continue to learn, continue to listen, and continue to hopefully have more and more of an impact, positive impact, of course. As I do this, I see how we can make change for the better and how we can avoid change for the detriment. And so I hope this could be something that I do for a very long time, and I hope to be able to help each and every one of you have a bay and underwater lands and freshwater ponds that are healthy, thriving, and something to be proud of. So once again, I'm Matt Parsons. I'm running for a trustee, and I hope for your vote.
Ed Warner.
First off, I'd like to thank the board up here for having this wonderful event. Public service is really important, and being able to have the candidates stand in person, not on a Zoom meeting or not in a phone call, is great. So my name's Ed Warner. I've been a trustee for 19 years. I've had 10 elections that I've won. This is my 11th plus 1 special election. My family has been in this town for 150 years or so. We are waterman baymen, which I take very seriously, so I have a lot of institutional knowledge. Sitting on this board, I realized that I'm probably the only person on the board, talking about myself, but I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it because that knows every body of water from basically Eastport all the way to East Hampton. I fish and clam. I've done it for almost 60 years, so I do have that skill set. But one thing that I do bring to the trustees that I think is a really important quality is communication. We have to work with our people on the town council, trustee and Councilman Pels here, Maria Moore, Rick Martel, who I went to school with, Cindy McNamara, and my whole board. We also work with other people outside of it, the DEC, the Army Corps, to get projects accomplished. I don't know if you know this or understand this, but we work with basically the Suffolk County Department of Public Works, which does dredging for the local waters, allowing safe navigation for everybody who is a boater. Now, as of right now, we have accomplished 8 projects with the county dredging our local waters. Basically, we're going to get more of our waters dredged in the town of Southampton than the whole entire Suffolk County out here. So we're very lucky. And I didn't start this relationship. My father did. When he was on the board, we have a very tight relationship with the county, which is a wonderful thing because it gives us access to, like Legislator Welker over there, which she was on our board. So thank her and our comrades at the legislature for helping us out here. But another one of the things that the trustees are very involved in is a pump out boat program, which the town has, and the trustees administer for them. When I first was running back in 2006, I said they had taken almost 750,000 gallons of effluent out of the environment. Well, as of now, I believe it's over 3 million gallons of effluent that we take out of the environment for the boaters of the community to make sure that the water quality is good. And another thing that we do, it's free. It doesn't cost the boaters anything. And it allows the South Shore Estuary and the Peconic Estuary to declare it a no discharge zone, which means the water quality is paramount and up as good as it can be. Another thing that the trustees do, which was not mentioned tonight, we have the largest waterfowl hunting program in the state of New York. We have 327 blinds, registered blinds, so that the public can have access to their hunting out here. We also stock the lakes and ponds with trout every year. We started out when I was first on the board for $1,500. I believe we're almost $3,000 worth of fish that we put back in. Another project that the trustees have engaged in was with the Southampton College and Chris Gobler and the Shinnecock Bay Restoration. It is currently one of the hope spots in the world. It's worldwide recognized, and it's one of the programs that I really take to heart because I believe as a bayman, I should give as much institutional knowledge back to the town that basically where I live and my family has grown up. So I want to thank everybody here tonight for basically taking part of a really important process, listening to all of us talk about what we do and how we do it for you. And if anybody needs to contact me, it's I'm at 240 West Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays. We've moved from Town Hall there, so I appreciate your past support, and I look forward to future support. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we'll finish up tonight hearing from the challenges, and the first will be John Carson.
I have a question for all of you. Think about the first time you came to Hampton Bays and why you came here. I came here in 1979 on a fishing boat and never left. I've been a commercial fisherman my whole life. I've fished inshore, offshore on the bays here, and I love it. It's what I do. I've also run and owned several small businesses. I have a tremendous amount of experience fixing things. My 2 children. I have a son and a daughter, both went through Hampton Bays High School. Grammar school, the whole system. One of the things that is a constant in life is change. And as humans, we don't like it. But as a trustee, you have an obligation to make sure this change is positive. And that's what they've been doing right along here. And it's tough. I mean, this one of the biggest misconceptions or something in my life was how much time this was going to take. And I'm not elected yet. And it's endless. It's every day, all day. And the end result, what I'm looking for here is I don't really want to be a politician. What I want to be is a statesman. And the difference is a politician is worried about the next election, and a statesman is worried about the next generation. Please vote. Thank you very much.
Next, we'll hear from Jimmy Mack.
Yes, it's working. Okay. Jimmy Mack, and what an honor it is to be here amongst all of you people in Hampton Bays. I grew up in West Hampton Beach. I had the great fortune to grow up on Seafield Point. I moved from Quiog to Seafield Point when I was 15 in a house overlooking Dune Road, surrounded by water, with Mauritius Bay to one side and Quantock Bay to the other. My first job was right across the way at Rogers Beach as an ocean lifeguard. But back then, my dream was to move to Manhattan and get a job in advertising, and I did that. I moved into Manhattan, got a job in advertising, crashed and burned in advertising, and wound up coming back to Seafield, the rehab. So it was not a successful career, but I've been clean and sober ever since for 33 years. I came back in 1992. And what I've done since then, I had the great fortune to wind up on Robbins Island in 1994. And I've been with the Robbins Island ever since, and working there and on Cowneck Farm, so surrounded by water. And I was the East End liaison working with Ann Connolly at the Robbins Island Foundation, which was the seed money, and I believe they bought the first boat for the Peconic Baykeeper. And they were also the seed money for a lot of wonderful conservation organizations out here, because that's what they do. They give away money to conservations, you know, like the Nature Conservancy, the Peconic Land Trust. And I've had the wonderful opportunity to work very closely with them. But also since then, I have been very involved in a lot of community organizations. Currently, I'm on the board of directors of the Mauritius Bay Project, which I'm very, very proud of the Star Aqua Center, and I know Joy is here somewhere, and we're trying to put in a community pool out here, and we're getting there. Trust me, we're getting there. And I'm also on the board of the Southampton Village Ocean Rescue. But my most proudest of all of them is I'm currently the chairman of the board and treasurer of the Southampton Volunteer Ambulance, where I have been an EMT for the past 20 years. And over those 20 years, I have literally saved thousands of lives in our community, and it's been one of the most rewarding things I have ever done. But currently, I'm finishing up a 6-year term as chairman and treasurer, and I have worked closely with the town with $1 million budget, very similar to what the trustees got, very fiscally responsible, getting you guys the best bang for your buck out of some wonderfully dedicated volunteers there and paid staff as well. And it's been an extraordinary experience to go through that. And now that that's kind of winding down, although this year I'm already at 250 calls for the year alone, I'm thinking what I would love more than anything is to put the energy that I put into all these community service into the Southampton Town Trustee. And I would be so honored, as I am, to just stand here and speak to you, to get your vote, and to serve you as a Southampton Town Trustee. Thank you very much.
Next, we'll hear from Hannah Pell O'Farrell.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hannah Pell O'Farrell, and I just want to thank the Hampton Bays Civic Association for having me. I really appreciate it. And everyone that turned up here on a Monday night. on Halloween week. I just want to start by saying I grew up in Southampton, but I spent a lot of time in Hampton Bays. My family used to own the Pell Dock and right on Shinnecock Canal. And I'm pretty sure I spent a full 60-hour work week when I was growing up. So much that I idolized the fisherman. Mojo was my biggest idolization, and I wanted to be just like him. I wanted to be on the water. So I went to Maritime College in the Bronx, and I stayed in the city for a few years and realized the water on the East River is truly disgusting, and it's not like the water out here. Do not swim in the East River. I did it. I don't think I'll ever be the same. So one of the reasons why I'm running for Southampton Town Trustee is I love Southampton. I grew up out here. I'm now raising my family out here. And my daughter needs a leash because all she wants to do is hobble her little 1-year-old legs down to the water and pick up every little thing that is in the water and just hold it up to me and go, because she can't talk. And I want to preserve it for her. I want her to be able to be in the water and not worry, will I grow a third leg if I'm in this water? Which water quality is something that is near and dear to my heart, and making everything accessible, because that's what's important to all of us. If we can't access the water, there's really no point in really living out here. And this is the greatest place on earth, in my humble opinion. So things that I really want to do in Hampton Bays is preserve your water and preserve the coastlines, because without that, Hampton Bays would not continue to flourish as it is today, and that is my main goal, along with many other things. But water quality, I would say, is my main topic I want to address as soon as I get into office. So anyway, I won't take up too much more time. My name is Hannah Pello Farrell, and please vote for me as well as some of the other fantastic trustee candidates. Thank you for your time.
Okay, we have two more, I think. Bill Parrish?
Stuck in traffic, but he sent me a note. If you allow me to read that, I don't know.
Sure, yeah. Mike?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Good evening, everyone. My name is Bill Parrish, and I'm running for town trustee. I'm sorry I couldn't be there tonight to speak to you personally. I thank you for allowing Scott Horwitz to read the statement. I'm a third-generation Southampton resident, former Southampton town trustee. During my first 2-year term, from 2022 through 2023, I fought to improve water quality and protect our bays and beaches. I fought alongside Scott and Ed Warner to get the trustees from an independent tax line, resolve outstanding lawsuits, and defend beach access for local residents. I want to continue to serve the community and residents of this great town. The position of trustee is no longer a part-time position. We need people with experience and dedication to fight for the future of our beaches, underwater lands, ponds, and waterways. Scott and Ed Warner need help going forward. I am committed to helping them protect our environment and ready to hit the ground running. Thank you for your support. Bill Parrish.
Last but not least, Sarah Topping.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am Sarah Topping, the last but not least. I wear many hats. I was born and raised on the East End. I grew up in East Hampton, where I lifeguarded when I was 16 years old, since I was 16 years old. I now live in Southampton, where I am raising my 12th generation Topping children with my husband. My husband, Pete, is a local from Southampton as well, and he works in Hampton Bays. So we, just maybe last week, were under the Palmquag Bridge, seining and collecting all of the tropical fish that are there and putting them in our fish tank at home, because my children spend most of their time underwater, and that's where they prefer to be. I don't consider myself a politician, but I do consider myself a public servant. I'm much more comfortable being where all you people are, but I do feel a desire to represent my community, and that's what drew me into this race. My life experience started with environmental advocacy, where I actually did bike ride from New York City to Hampton Bay, this is Hampton Bays, I didn't go here, but we went to DC, New York City to Washington, DC, to advocate for climate change awareness. I also started a nonprofit in 2017 that focused on maternal and infant mortality rates on the East End, and we did a lot of outreach and education, worked with a lot of different groups, including the Suffolk County legislature, actually, and New York State, sitting in front of Assemblyman Fred Thiel and other government officials. I think that advocacy is the flip side to government, and there is a quote I came across of recently with, I think it was by Rachel Carson, who's the naturalist, where in nature nothing stands alone, right? But I also feel like in government nothing stands alone. And that's where I really am coming from with this first run for office. This is my first run for office. I really think that we're only as healthy as the environment around us. And I've done a lot of public health work, and I'm obviously invested in it because I have 3 children and I spend a lot of time in and around the water. And volunteer work is one of the most important things to our community. I am also on the Southampton Village Ocean Rescue. I work with CHIP this summer to run the Junior Grom Guards Junior Lifeguard Program for 8 to 12-year-olds, which I love to do because water safety is obviously a huge thing. And if I would love to be able to represent our community in protecting our coastline, and I would really appreciate your vote this November. Thank you.
That concludes our candidates.
So we did mention to them, they have a very, very busy day, week coming up, and if any of them had to leave, by all means, they can leave. You can get in touch with them by email or phone calls, but if any of them plan on staying and anybody wants to have a question for them, by all means, just come up and use the microphone. No questions. Good job. Good job. Good. Oh, somebody's coming for a question. Don't run yet.
I would just like to ask on the Westwoods, if the nation wants to come to the table to discuss with the town the continuation of the gas station, is that something that as trustees that you would allow or look forward to or do?
Are you asking us to one person?
All 3 of them actually.
All 3 of them.
Oh,
It's a town council
No, it's a people or trustees.
the council. To Cindy, Mark, and
We have 3
Steve.
candidates here. Have a quick comment.
Thank you for the question. So I think I've been pretty clear on the whole Westwoods thing that, to me, that would be part of a compromise. I'm not really in the market to compromise right now. I think the lawsuits have to go to a final result. And if and when, whatever the decision is, the Shinnecock Nation and us want to work together, try to mitigate some of the circumstances around the gas station, that's going to come much, much later. For me, I think we have to take this to the end and really find out under whose control is the zoning on that property. Till then, I have no compromise in my soul till then.
So I too have been pretty clear on this. I pretty much reiterate whatever Rick said. And that being said, as far as, you know, having a gas station on that site, the only way I could see that happening, and it was supposed to come to the town board, go through the planning department at the panel together for 27 East, and we were asked this question, and we sat at a panel with the nation and asked them to come in and go through planning and basically work with us to come up with the best plan for the community. And, you know, that's why it took us nearly a year before we went down the legal pathway that we did. But, you know, any settlement or negotiation, I mean, the courts have been pretty clear up until now that that parcel is subject to town zoning, and we are obligated to uphold town zoning. That's our job. So any communication would have to go through our process, whereby you come in for a change of use or a change of zone. We look at the project. I don't see a gas station there with access to Newtown Road. That's off the table for me. But we've been pretty clear on that from the beginning, and that's where we stand. So thank you.
Thank you for the question. As I mentioned in my remarks, I think eventually we're going to have to get to the point where we have a negotiated settlement. It's working its way through the courts now. It will have to work its way through the courts. I think there will ultimately end up being some kind of negotiations that will have to take place, as I said, involving the town, the state, the Shinnecocks, and I think, you know, the Bureau of Indian Affairs would have to be involved in that at some point. As a planning board member, and I said all projects come out better after going through the planning board review process. I think that if we get to that point, that certainly would be a good thing if it ends up happening. I've looked at the projected traffic impacts that could happen to Newtown Road based on published data, and my background is in traffic and traffic engineering. It would be an incredible amount of traffic on Newtown Road. So that link to Sunrise Highway is, I think, a critical part of whatever happens going forward. There's got to be a link to Sunrise Highway. Newtown Road, I don't believe we'll ever be able to handle it. So, thank you.
I only have one simple question. I haven't heard anything about the 110-room hotel that is being planned and was approved by Southampton to be built on Shinnecock land.
So, are you talking about on the Westwoods property?
I have no idea.
Well, there is a plan that the Shinnecocks have on the Westwood property after building the gas station, after building the convention center. On the water side of the property, they plan to build a hotel. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about, on the water.
It's never coming.
It's
Okay,
never
so-
coming.
It has not to this point come in front of us. We've seen renditions of it just like you have. But at this point, it has not been in front of the planning board, and it has not been in front of the town board.
I have a question. This is for any of the incumbents on the town board or Ms. Moore or the prospective people. And it's about the financially over-bloated police department that we have in Southampton. I'm speaking as a former assistant district attorney, a criminal lawyer. I've been in law enforcement many years. So now the last statistics that I have are from 2022, because I couldn't get the more recent ones. In 2022, our police commissioner, his compensation package was almost $350,000. He makes more than any Supreme Court judge. He makes more than the New York City police commissioner, who manages 40,000 officers. His brother is not far behind. At that time, there were 79 police officers and 21 managers of management rank to boss those 79. That meant that 25% of the police force was management, which is unheard of. A few years ago, a police officer told me that with overtime, he makes $265,000 a year. No one seems appalled by this except people who finally hear these figures. And I can tell you that the quality of policing in Southampton is abysmal. anyone knows that if you call the police, they tell you that's not a police matter. That's a civil matter. Now, I know when that's correct and not correct. On the other hand, if the complainant is somebody they know, if it is a civil matter, they'll throw themselves and involve themselves in because they know the person.
You have a question?
Yeah, my question is, now, we could have gotten rid of the...
Can't hear you.
We could have gotten rid of the commissioner, except that Maria Moore asked the state legislature to put aside his mandatory retirement age. So now he's still with us for however many years. So does anyone, prospective or on the board, plan to stop this overloading of the police department? And please don't say this is due to union contracts.
So I'll take the question. Southampton Town Police Department, I think, is the best police department in the state of New York. The town board actually serves as the police commissioners of the Southampton Town Police Department. Our chief, Jimmy Kiernan, oversees the department, and there was conversations about extending his retirement age. He didn't want to extend his retirement age. He would love to retire. But with the US Open coming into town next year and a whole lot of community issues going on, he felt it was in the town's best interest that he stay. We asked him to stay to see us through the US Open and all the things currently going on in our department. We have also added oversight, and we've added officers as sergeants and lieutenants because we are putting new police members in the department because we've heard time and again from community that police time, the response times were too high. They want to see more traffic enforcement. So we've added police officers. What happens when you add officers that are young, fresh out of the academy, and they don't have a sergeant or somebody that knows what good policing is to call and say, hey, I'm not going to handle this on my own. I'm going to call on somebody's available to come help me out and show me the right thing and the right way to do things. Jimmy Kiernan believes in community policing. He has been cited time and time again and honored by Olaf for his work with our Hispanic community. I stand behind our police department 110%. Rick and I are both happily, proudly endorsed by the Southampton Town PBA. We are right now at policing numbers after prior administrations had let the numbers dwindle. We are back at numbers where we should have been increasing from. We have just made it back to numbers that we had 20 years ago. So I proudly stand with our police. I do not think they're overpaid. Last I checked, when somebody calls because they're in charge, there's somebody showing up that doesn't know if their life is on the line every single time they answer a call. And if you want to put a price tag on that, God bless you.
Just a quick question. Could somebody comment if he makes $350,000 a year?
That was in 2022. Here's the town website right here.
Can you
That
comment?
chief has passed away, sadly. That was Chief Skinricky in 2022, he has passed away.
Okay. Thank you.
So now the salary is increased now 3 years later. You can go down.
Hi, for the town council folks, there's been a lot of talk of revitalization of Hampton Bays, and I know that it's kind of far down the road because of the wastewater treatment plant that has to be completed. But I'm wondering if, and it's been a little controversial here and there about different aspects of a proposed plan, which may or may not be a plan, I don't know. But I'm wondering if each of you could maybe enlighten us a little bit about what you see in terms of a revitalization for Hampton Bays.
Thank you. I do see in the future on Main Street more pedestrian-friendly aspects to it. As the supervisor said, the pattern book was approved, and I think that's a good model as Main Street transitions, over the years to become more pedestrian-friendly. I think that that's an important aspect of it. And I think that, again, as you said, the sewage treatment plant has to come in. There's a lot of work that has to be done yet. There has to be revisions to, what was done years ago. Have to look at the traffic situation, the roadway situation again. But I'm looking forward to something that ultimately ends up with more pedestrian friendly, encouraging local businesses and local shops to get on Main Street so that it has the dynamics and the vitality that Main Street deserves. Thank you, Mary. I'm going to sound like a broken record. I mean, I stood in this room before I even ran, and again, like I was one of the civic members, and I spoke in 2018 and 2019 about Mr. Kiola's plan, and I said then that I was in favor of some type of downtown revitalization. I didn't like the idea of him calling it a new Main Street. It really did not do anything for us on Main Street, but I think he has a right to do something. So what that is, we don't know yet. He has not submitted a plan. If you all sat in on every one of the shreds that he had, whether we've been at Cowfish or CPI, it's always pretty pictures of what he wants to see. It has the wide sidewalks, which we all want, and it has the access, but it really doesn't tell us how many units he wants to have as far as apartment buildings, or how many multi-purpose, how many multi-use buildings. Are we going to have a lawyer's office? Is it going to be a CVS and an anchor? Are we going to have the hotel that he was talking about? Are we going to have senior housing? We don't know any of that at this point. So right now, there's not a plan. Am I in favor of him being allowed to do something? Yes, he has the right to do something. What that plan is going to be directed by both the planning board and the town board, and we're going to be able to work that out. For me, I finally got to meet with him about 2 months ago, and there were 5 things that I would not allow. I would not allow, first of all and foremost, cross-access to Good Ground Park. That is a park, that is a parking lot. It is not a road, and he doesn't have the rights to use that road, number 1. Number 2 is the parking. We have such a parking issue here in Hampton Bays. I don't want to hear that, well, the store is open from 9 to 5 and the people come home from work at 5:30, therefore those parking places are the same spots. That's got to go away. We got to have some kind of better system than figuring that they double up. We need the parking really bad downtown, and we need it worse than ever. I wanted to make sure that the amount of units he had, both, how many apartments he wanted, fit what we as a community wanted. I think that probably with 11 parcels that he has could be 100 apartments. He wants well more than that, from what I understand. If we take apartments away, do the small apartments then become 2-bedroom apartments where kids will be involved and there'll be more kids in the school? So those are the tough decisions that the town board and the planning board are going to have to work out when we actually get a plan. And I flat out asked them, I said, what kind of businesses? Everybody wants that pretty coffee shop, that luncheonette. Look, I don't know if those things can exist with today's rents, especially in a new business, but I hope we get a nice mix that fills in our downtown. Because as those businesses prosper, the buildings on Main Street will prosper, the rents might go up a little bit, some of the locations that people are not in favor of at the present time may go away, and it really may just lift the whole town. But again, it's not going to happen until we have the sewage treatment. We're probably 3 to 5 years away from that. And hopefully by then we'll actually see a plan on what might happen. So, thank you.
I'll be brief because, again, Rick and I are pretty much in the same thought frame on this. The only thing I'll add is I did also get to speak to Mr. Kiola. I've seen all the pictures that you've all seen. I don't want the town board to be in a position like we were the last time we were bringing the plan to you, where we had Gail and Marion breaking down square footage and figuring out how many people and apartments could fit into those square feet. We need to know what he's proposing. And so I've said basically, listen, just like Curtis came to you with the Easterner Motel property and showed you a plan that you could all get behind, and the people that proposed the hotel on the old Bordy Barn site came to you with a plan and showed you and explained and answered questions. I said to him, listen, don't bring the pictures, bring an actual plan. What do you want? How many people? How many businesses? Bring a plan that you can show to the community and you can get actual feedback on, so we have a starting point. Because honestly, that's the only pathway I see forward, because anything that we do is going to be seen as creating a code for Kiola, and anything that he brings forward is just going to be probably so grandiose, you're not going to support it in the end anyway. So we need to find a happy medium. The only thing we all do agree on is we want to see progress. We want to see something happen. So I ask that he bring you a plan that you can get behind or not get behind, but then at least we know where we all stand.
Done?
No, thank you. I don't know who this goes to. Code enforcement. We need more code enforcement. What? Who do we talk to? Who do we ask? Okay, Ms. Moore. Code enforcement, how do we deal with not having enough in Hampton Bays?
Well, as you know, we did just purchase the building on 133 West Montauk Highway, and we're going to move the code enforcement department over there. And once, because right now they're just too tightly packed in here, and that'll have some beneficial side effects for the senior center also. But once that the department is able to spread out and evaluate their processes, we're going to be working with Ryan Murphy, who's in charge, and we did put two new officers in place last year, code enforcement officers, so that there could be some time shifting on weekends and evenings. But I know it's a big concern, and a lot of what they do is reactive because there are so many complaints that come in that they respond to. But a lot of things are, I don't know what you. Specifically, are complaints not being responded to? Because, we do have the online system where you report a condition and then get a response.
I'm going to give you a story.
Okay, so I went to code enforcement first I tried to do it online, and they wouldn't accept my email address. They just said, sorry, wrong email address. So then I tried to do it there's a portion that says you can do it, what's the word, without, anonymously. Not accepting anonymously at this time. So then I came to code enforcement. I went for a walk one day and just decided to write down what I saw. And 5 complaints I had, in just from code enforcement to home. I live on Argonne Road, 2 blocks. I asked them when they would get to it. They said it would probably be 6 months to a year before they would ever even be able to look at mine. There's not enough people. They need help. We can't keep blaming them for something that they can't accomplish. If any of you have been on the code enforcement website, they have little icons of where the code is. You can't even see the map anymore. It's just a whole thing is an icon.
Well, we did remove the anonymous feature because it was impossible to follow up to get additional information. So now we are requesting that we get a name and phone number so we can call the person with, to get more details. But I'll have to ask him about that. I mean, it sounds bad. I admit that.
It was a horrible experience for me. They also, because I couldn't get internet on my iPad, I had my iPad with me, I asked if I could use their website, and he said they don't have internet there. He asked me to go to Starbucks to use their internet. It didn't go well. I came home extremely frustrated. It didn't go well.
Well, I will certainly meet with Ryan Murphy, this week and ask him about your complaint, and maybe he can break down. Actually, he did give a recent summary of Hampton Bays stats. And unfortunately, I was away that day, so I don't have it, but I think Councilman Martell has that.
Eileen, could I say something that, could I defend code enforcement for a second?
I was gonna do that.
Well, you are expected to do that. I'm not expected to do it. And I did look at the report, and, you know, and I'm sorry, I don't want to really, you're running for election, I'm not. You know, code enforcement, the attorney and Ryan Murphy were at a Civic Association meeting one night, and they did a really good job of explaining the process and the legal process. And there are a lot of things that are not in the control of code enforcement. I'm not saying they don't need more people, they only have 9 people. The number of complaints in Hampton Bays is, well, for the year 2024, there were, I think, 585 complaints in Hampton Bays. That's like more than one a day. So I don't know how you expect people, they can't respond to that. And part of my thing about not blaming them is sort of taking like something that someone said before about people don't understand what the code says. I don't know whoever said you brought all those people in, the businesses, you told them about X, Y, and Z, and they all complied because they didn't know. And sometimes I feel like it's just that people don't know. And, you know, we wouldn't need code enforcement if we were a better community who didn't shine lights in our neighbor's backyard and stuff like that. So I think we need to look at the community a little bit and do a little public service on getting, kind of being more considerate. I mean, all the complaints are about leaf blowing, lights, and parking. I mean, you know, maybe we can do something about those things without having to get involved in a 6-month legal process. I know it's a long process because I had my own, I'm not complaining, you know, I just, you know, whatever. So I'm defending code enforcement here for a second.
Mary, thank you for that. We appreciate any defense. I want to be the first one to apologize. I'm sure that between Maria and I, we can get a meeting with Ryan and we can work on the issues that you were talking about.
They need help. I'm not
Absolutely.
criticizing them. I could see how overwhelmed they must be. They need help. We need more. They need help.
So that's a constant for us. We're always trying to find new code enforcement officers. It almost seems like as quick as we hire one, another one leaves. You know, sometimes they go to Brookhaven or East Hampton, but we're trying. And Ryan, just like the police chief, has done a great job of getting bilingual code enforcement officers because a lot of the areas we work in, it's about education as much as it is about putting a fine or a summons out there. We want to make sure that they understand what they're doing wrong. Let's try to fix it before we actually give them a ticket. Because it's not about the money. By the time it goes through the courts and it takes 6 months, that summons, the amount of the money there doesn't mean anything. It's about fixing the problem so in your neighborhood it's taken care of. Now, one of the things about the SOS system, I will tell you, is that it's good to a degree. People put very vague explanations of what they see. And I've asked many groups, many civic groups, because I'm also liaison to Bridgehampton and Watermill and Flanders, is that when you file an SOS, you make sure you put a time in it. Make sure we know that there's 8 cars in the driveway at 11 o'clock at night, not at 4 in the afternoon. And we are limited on personnel. They go out on a regular basis throughout the week. They extend their hours. We have added weekend hours. We don't do the real like 2 in the morning on Saturday because at that point they're going to need police protection. And that's really thinning out the ranks of our police department too. We can't send one code enforcement officer out at 2 in the morning, you know, in Flanders because of a noise complaint at a party with 200 people. Like that's a PD issue. We really need to, you know, be backed up by the PD. So there's a lot of things we can improve on. I agree that we need more personnel. It's a budgetary thing. We can't just keep adding. We have to add the right personnel, the right enforcement group. We can't just hire everybody. They're very strict on their hiring process. And I think they're doing a great job. But the ranks are thin. If we can add 1 or 2 at a time and we can increase those weekends times, I think we'd be in great shape.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Code?
It's code.
I don't want to give up the mic if it's not code.
It's code. It's
Marion?
code. And it's also.
One second. So this is going to be the last question or statement of the night, please.
This really is not a question, it's a statement and a bit of a challenge to the officials here. Years ago, since I'm ancient, I remember, Hampton Bay Civic Association hired someone to go over the code and to work with the police department and code enforcement to get them to agree, because one said you need a meter, a noise meter, someone else said you didn't, and we got them to agree. It cost the Civic Association money. We printed out a number of the booklets. The town of then, none of you were on the board then, so you're all off the hook. The town was given numbers of this wonderful little book. It really was wonderful. And most people, we think, want to be good neighbors, but a lot of people don't know what that involves. For instance, how many cars are allowed to be parked, things of that nature. We were promised that the town would redo it, and we asked that it be done bilingually, half in Spanish. I think about 2 or 3 years ago, don't hold me to this, I think I gave Janice Shearer a copy. I don't know how many copies are still floating around, maybe they're not floating around. I have 1 copy left and I will not part with it. But I'm asking for a commitment from the town to come out with something in writing, simple, that people understand, they know the rules in English and in Spanish, and I think you'll cut down on the number of code enforcement complaints, because people know what the code enforcement is. People do not know it. Thank you.
Actually, I have a copy because the Flanders Riverside Northampton Civic, actually, Stacy just gave me a copy because they asked for the same thing. Yes, they asked for the same
We need to show a lot of
thing.
credit for that, folks, because we paid a lot of money, we hired people.
And their request was that it go to actual houses and not to the taxpayers, because the taxpayers aren't the ones living in the houses most of the time that don't know what the code is, so we're working. Good idea.
No, not right now, okay? We can have a discussion right after this, okay? We have to be out at a certain time. So we want to thank Marilyn and Tom Burns for all the sign-in, and Denise and Marion. And thank you for all of you for coming here, for your input, for all the candidates, for your time given now and given sooner or later if you voted in. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Have a good night.